Welcome to this episode of the Harpreet Singh Show. I am your host Harpreet Singh from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. In today's program, we are going to talk to a very inspiring person who has just finished off her first novel, and she's also a journalist with Urban Asian. Her journey inspires us, motivates us that whatever you want to do in life, you can achieve that. So let's get over to Jess Singh and continue with our discussion. Jess, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good evening. Thank you for having me on the show, Harpreet.
Most
Thank
welcome.
you.
Welcome. So, Jess, we would like to know about your journey. You used to work in an office. How come that transformation and you started thinking of writing and became a journalist for Urban Asian?
Yes, I have done pretty much every job you can think of, and I was working as an administrative in an office, and it wasn't fulfilling. Like it wasn't giving me what I wanted in my life. I was always thinking, this is not what I want to do. I always wanted to be a writer. I had a personal blog in the beginning. I worked on my own blogs. I was writing, and it was giving me a peace, serenity to be able to write something that I felt. And
Hmm.
from there on, I took a professional approach to become a blogger. And my first blog was actually published in a UK online webpage. It's called Brit Asia. I think
Hmm.
everybody knows about it. And from there, it just picked on.
Wow. What have you been writing on?
So there are a lot of things that I see that don't get noticed, like minor issues. They're not minor issues as we speak of women's personal issues, like single mothers and their struggles. Like I also live in Surrey, and I notice a lot of issues women are going through is what I try to bring in my blogs, and single moms or marriage issues or anything that I see relating to women. It just inspires me to bring out how can we help.
Okay. And then you also started writing for Urban Asian. What is this? Is this an on site portal or what is it?
So Urban Asian is a global platform for any artist. It is mostly Bollywood, and we talk about movies, songs. We also support any South Asian artist or any Asian artist. I have actually interviewed a Asian comedian as well. And yeah, so Urban Asian basically is a global platform. We are based in UK, India, London, US, and I do Canada. So
Okay,
Urban
that's
Asian
wonderful.
is a yes.
Okay. So your interest in writing made you a blogger and now you're a journalist for Urban Asian, and also you have been, as you said, you have been interviewing a lot of people and your passion is women empowerment. Coming from South Asian background and especially living in Surrey, as you mentioned, there are many issues which get unnoticed and many times they're not brought forward in the media the way they should be. So as a South Asian person, how do you feel what is happening in our community and why do you need these things need to be brought out?
Um, the world is changing. I see that we as a woman, or as a woman in community are growing. I see so many women, coming out as a strong, powerful inspirations. There's so many I can name, but at the same time, I feel like, there is more work needs to be done. We're still not raising our daughters to be independent. We're not raising them to be not just a wife or a mother. We are doing great job raising them as a mother, as they do great job as a wife, but they forget who they are. I don't see a lot of women knowing their self-worth. Like even youngsters who are born and raised in Canada, the females, they are not brought up in a way that they should be like, okay, you can become whoever you want to, you know. So I try to bring that idea out through my writing.
Oh, that's excellent. So that's a very important point, especially in the culture in which we have grown. Though countries have changed, but the mentality of the community still remains the same. And a lot of issues just are not coming out in the community. And as you talked about single mothers or single parents, and also in the home, the treatment of a son as well as a daughter is different still, though we are in the 21st century. How does that impact?
Yes, I still see like, the world says everywhere I go, they say it's man's world. But I think it's the woman who's raising that man. It's us women, us female who are raising as a mothers these men, and what are we going to teach them is going to come out. There is still a difference between a girl and a boy. Still in the community, I see that they want a son, they want a, a male child so they can carry over their legacy, their name as family. And girls are raised, okay, go to college and become something and find a good husband, get married, have kids, and raise them. And this is how they are taught that this is the way of being happy. This is not happiness. This is more of okay, this is the criteria you have to follow, and that's the only way you're going to be happy. They're never like, okay, go travel, be independent. So I feel like there's a lot of work needs to be done. And I think in order to change this social circle that we are going through on and on is to educate our women.
Okay. Just it's time for a short break. We'll go for a short break. We'll be shortly back. And then once we are back, we would like to learn more about what does women empowerment mean as such. Today, where do you feel that women are not treated equally at par with men? And especially in the South Asian homes, why is this mentality not changing? What needs to be done? And also, during the pandemic, you took this as an opportunity to write a novel also. So we'll talk all about that after this short break. Please keep on watching the show and we'll be shortly back.
हर रंग है साडे को, हर मॉडल, हर एक दी अपनी वक्री पहचान। असीं एक परिवार हाँ, साडा कर्म है अगे वधाउणा, सफर नूं सौखा बनाउणा। बसंत मोटर्स, तुहाडे नाल, तुहाडे करके।
है जुल्म ढाने का अंदाज भी कितना हंसी, हमारी जान पर बनाई है जब जब उसने अंगड़ाई ली। कभी खामोश रहते हैं, कभी शोर होता है। मोहब्बत में शरारत का मजा कुछ और होता है। दिल को जज्बात का तोहफा, खामोशियों को बात का तोहफा, खूबसूरती में जड़ी नजाकत अदाओं की चांद से मुखड़े को चांद सा तोहफा।
भारत ज्वेलर्स, सच्चे प्यार की चमक जैसा। 5 बिजनेस सेंटर सरी।
ਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰੀ, ਡੈਲਟਾ, ਰਿਚਮੰਡ, ਐਬਸਫੋਰਡ ਜਾਂ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਵਾਂ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਰੈਨੋਵੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ? ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਬਿਲਡਰ, ਇੱਕ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਿਵ ਇੰਟੀਰੀਅਰ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਰ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਸਾਰ ਸਕਣ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜਾਂ ਸੰਦੀਪ 6048259295 ਉੱਤੇ।
स्वागत करते हैं जी एक बार फिर आप सब ਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ। This program is being brought to you with the support of AMC Insurance. If you're looking for home, auto, travel, business, life or recreational insurance, they have 9 branches in the lower mainland to serve you and they're open 7 days a week from 8:30 a.m. onwards till 9 p.m. For more information, call 604-507-6666. Our next sponsor is Agnihotri Immigration Consulting. Temporary status, PR, नवे हो कनाडा ਵਿੱਚ अंतरराष्ट्रीय विद्यार्थी हो, सिटीजनशिप बारे जानकारी लेनी है, कनाडा आना है, ਹਾਇਰ ਕਰਨੇ ਫੋਰਨ ਵਰਕਰਸ, ਐਕਸਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਐਂਟਰੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਸਪਾਂਸਰ ਕਰਨੇ ਨੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਜਾਂ ਗ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ ਨੀਰਾ ਅਗਨੀਹੋਤਰੀ ਜੋ ਕਿ 2006 ਤੋਂ ਸਰਟੀਫਾਈਡ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੰਸਲਟੈਂਟ ਵਜੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਫॉर ऑनेस्ट एंड रिलायबल इन्फॉर्मेशन कॉल 6045972284 604-597-2284। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੈਸ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਨੇ, ਇੱਕ ਰਾਈਟਰ ਨੇ, ਆਥਰ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਬਲੌਗਰ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਅਰਬਨ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਵਿਮਨ ਇੰਪਾਵਰਮੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੈਸ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਕੁਐਲਿਟੀ ਕਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਉਹ ਵੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੀ। ਵਿਮਨ ਇੰਪਾਵਰਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਲੌਗਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ਿਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਵੇਅਰਨੈਸ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। Let's continue with the discussion with Jess and learn more about what she feels about women empowerment. So when we talk about women empowerment, just could you elaborate a little bit, like when we see all around, women are at par with men when we see them, whether it is working in offices or in government services. But where do you feel actually there is something missing which we need to talk about?
That's a really, really great question you brought up, Harpreet. So I have a friend. I've known her ever since I was in grade five. She is a director in a pharmaceutical company, and she's in her 40s, and she's single. But what I hear is, oh, poor girl, never got married. She's probably unhappy. All these things that make me laugh. Like, okay, so a woman who's director in a company, she's making her own money. She does not need a man. And the world's feeling sorry for her. Excuse me, she doesn't have to, you know, tell anybody, hey, I'm leaving house, what time I'm coming home. She can go eat out whenever she wants. She has a full freedom, and I am surprised when I hear, oh, this poor girl never got married. So technically, our society still thinks that the only way to be happy is being married. That is not true, and that mindset needs to be changed. Even I see a lot of women in power, they are considered complete only if they're married. I think this mindset really, really needs to be changed. I'm not saying that marriage is a bad thing, but that shouldn't be the focus of raising our daughters. Our daughters should be raised as, you know, freedom is first. Make yourself independent, and there should be only one thing when you get married, and that's love. Not, oh, I need a man so he can support me, right? So.
Okay. And this was probably the reason, just that all that she wanted was this novel came into existence during the pandemic. This was behind your mind, the thought that you have just shared with us, that always in the society, and especially in our community, women is always not considered to be full until unless she gets married. So take us on this journey now as to how did you then think of writing this novel? Because you talk about things, but writing a novel is not a small thing. So how did this all happen?
So the pandemic started, and I had a lot of free time on my hands. I was home alone. I started writing my thoughts about as a journal. Like, I started writing on a notebook. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just write it. And I don't know what happened. I'm like, okay, this is something that I can create. I had plenty of time, and I wanted to bring out something. There are social issues. So the book mostly is based in India. So I had to do a lot of research in order to come up with this whole idea. Um, like the first part, like there are issues like India still has girls' school, like they still have girls' college. In 21st century, they still prefer girls to be in girls' school only. They feel it's safe. But is it safe to put girls only in a girls' school? In my opinion, I don't think so, because when when you're releasing your daughter as a woman into the world, she's gonna have to deal with men. And the only way to do that is to raise them with the men so they understand the mindset and the mentality. So there are a lot of other issues that I brought in this book, and which was done through research, a lot of reading, lot of Netflixing. I did see a lot of Netflix shows, and I'm like, no, this is something that I can do. So this is how the idea of a novel came up.
And in this novel, is it that you are just emphasizing on the South Asian community or women in general as such?
Mostly the women in South Asian community, because women in general, I see it. I deal with Caucasians, Filipinos. The issue is sort of mutual, but I feel like in our community, women are more congested. Like in other cultures, they have a little bit more freedom. They're not like, hey, you know what? Marriage is the only thing you have to do. They're raised a little bit different than in a South Asian community. So I feel that this is based for South Asian community, and I would want people to read it.
Okay. We'll talk a little bit more in details, but again, coming back to the question of women empowerment. So, does women empowerment, as you are talking about, just mean that the women should have the liberty to choose her spouse, to be independent, to do whatever she wants to do? And the way we are seeing today in this 21st century, as I talked before also, we see women at par wherever they want to go. There is no stoppage. But then where is it that you feel that this women empowerment is probably not having that impact? We have International Women's Day, we celebrate a lot, we talk a lot, even in religious scripts also, like in Sikhism also, we say, So kyu manda akhiye jit jamme rajan, that a woman is equal. But when it comes to practice, probably it is not happening the way it should happen. So how can women empowerment be more stronger in the community?
You know, that's a great point you have brought, that you know, even our Gurmukhi says it, that women are equal. But for me to even go there, like, religion is not, especially in our South Asian community, any religion is not taken as serious as it's supposed to be. We don't go by the words anymore. I think it's more of a celebration. There's a Vaisakhi celebration, which is more commercialized. But coming back to the point, where the woman should have the freedom or limitations, I don't think. Yes, I agree with you that women are on a very powerful platforms. But again, it comes down to, there is always a price to be paid. There is some sort of price. If I see some woman on a large platform, is the world's gonna accept her if she's single? I don't feel that they're not respected as much. They need a last name. They need, is this world, is a South Asian community, they're curious constantly. Who's her man? Who's behind her? Who's supporting her? There's always a man or a woman behind a successful person, and that is there. But again, at the same time, even though there are so many women are making to the top, there is still the price that they have to pay. There is a different race for a man, and there is a different for women. Woman has more hurdles to cross.
Right. So price to pay, that's a very important point that you have touched, and I would like to talk in details about this after this short break. Let's go for a break. We'll be shortly back and learn more from you as to what do you feel and what solutions do you have to offer. Where can we all as a society come forward, and these stigmas that are attached or the taboos that we have, they need to be brought down. So we'll talk all about this after this short break.
ਘਰ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਿੱਜੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਸੁਨਹਿਰੀ ਪਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰਿਆ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਤੀਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਬਦਲਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਨਵੇਂ ਘਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਰੇਮਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ਿੰਗ ਤੱਕ, ਡ੍ਰੇਪਰੀ, ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਡੈਕੋਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਸੈਸਰੀਜ਼ ਤੱਕ, ਤੁਸੀਂ SK ਹੋਮ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਪਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਹਕੀਕਤ 'ਚ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰੋ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਕੌਰ 6048259295।
ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ? ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਦੇ ਓਨਰ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇੰਟੈਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਦਾ ਉਦਾਹਰਨ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਾਰ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਖ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਸਰੀ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲੋੜ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜੀਂਦੇ ਟਰੱਕਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗਾਈਡੈਂਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸਪੇਸ, ਮੋਡੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਫਿਊਲ ਐਫੀਸ਼ੀਐਂਸੀ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਟਰੱਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਟੌਰ।
ਵੈਨਕਾਸਾ ਟਾਈਲ ਅਤੇ ਸਟੋਨ ਸ਼ੋਰੂਮ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਲਸੇਲ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਹਰ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀਆਂ ਟਾਈਲਸ, ਸਟੋਨ, ਮਾਰਬਲ, ਬੈਕਸਪਲੈਸ਼, ਮੋਜ਼ੇਕ ਆਦਿ ਵਾਜਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਟਾਲੀਅਨ, ਸਪੈਨਿਸ਼, ਚਾਈਨੀਜ਼, ਪੋਰਸਲਨ ਜਾਂ ਸਿਰੈਮਿਕ ਟਾਈਲਸ ਜਾਂ ਮਾਰਬਲ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਆਰਡਰ ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਕਲੀਅਰੈਂਸ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਮਾਲਕ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟ ਟਾਈਲਸ ਇੰਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਜਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰੋ 13042 84 ਐਵਨਿਊ ਸਰੀ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 604 330 7363 604 330 7363। ਹਰ ਇੱਕ NRI ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਚਾਹ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆਵੇ, ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਮੱਥਾ ਉਹ ਟੇਕਦਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ। ਐਂਡ ਆਫ ਕੋਰਸ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਜੇ ਆਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਸ਼ਾਪਿੰਗ ਨਾ ਕਰੀਏ, ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਆਫ ਕੋਰਸ ਸੰਭਵ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਹੀ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਖੁਸ਼ਖਬਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਾਲ ਰੋਡ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਸਟੋਰ ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਹੈ ਅਨਿਲ ਸਟੋਰ, ਉਹ ਖੁੱਲ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਹੈ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿ ਲੇਡੀਜ਼, ਜੈਂਟਸ ਅਤੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਟਿਚਡ ਅਤੇ ਅਨਸਟਿਚਡ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਖਰੀਦ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਆਓ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸ਼ਾਪਿੰਗ ਕਰੋ ਅਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਹੇਠ ਲਿਖੇ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਅਤੇ ਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫੋਨ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਜੇਕਰ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਹੇ, ਈਵਨ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਸ਼ਾਪਿੰਗ ਵੀ ਕਰਵਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। Once again, welcome back to the program. ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਥ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਜੈਸ ਸਿੰਘ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਆਥਰ ਨੇ, ਬਲੌਗਰ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਜਰਨਲਿਸਟ ਵੀ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਬਾਰੇ, ਇੰਪਾਵਰਮੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਚੱਲਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਅਜੇ ਕਥਨੀ ਤੇ ਕਰਨੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੰਤਰ ਹੈਗਾ। ਉਸੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੈਸ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡਬਲ ਸਟੈਂਡਰਡਸ ਨੇ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਬੰਦ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਔਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਐਟ ਪਾਰ ਕਿਹਾ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਨਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇੱਕ ਔਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਮਰਦ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਸ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਸੈਪਰੇਟ ਆਈਡੈਂਟੀਟੀ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਮਾਨਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਔਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰਾ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਜ਼ ਪੇ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਸੋ ਲੈਟਸ ਟਾਕ ਅ ਲਿਟਲ ਬਿਟ ਇਨ ਡੀਟੇਲਸ ਐਸ ਟੂ ਵਾਟ ਡਜ਼ ਸ਼ੀ ਮੀਨ ਬਾय दैट ਐਂਡ ਹਾਊ ਕੈਨ ਦਿਸ ਬੀ ਬ੍ਰੌਟ ਡਾਊਨ। So just as you mentioned before the break that women has to pay a price for everything. Could you elaborate on this as to what do you feel? Why is it that that mentality is not changing, and is it still existing amongst the youngsters also, or you find some change over there?
Well, Harpreet, the mentality is still same. I don't know. It has to do something with just being a woman. Sometimes I feel like it's actually a curse being a woman. You know, in order to leave a house, a woman has to make sure that everything is intact. Everybody is okay. Everybody in the house is, perfect. The house is clean. The food is there. You know, if she just leaves everything or just goes wherever she wants to, then their question being raised. As long as everything is getting done in the house, that's small example. But let's go to, our workplace. I think that in order to move up, there is a lot of prices a female has to pay. Like there are a lot of compromises that she needs to do. If a woman is a mother, then she has to sacrifice her life as a mom and give more time, which is easy for any man to do. There are no accommodations being made or no. So when it comes down to making a woman, hey, you know what, you're going to be a manager or you're going to be a supervisor, then she needs to give time regardless of what family life she has. And those changes are not being made. Then, okay, men or women are equal. But then again, she has to pay some sort of price to, in a bigger companies, if you look at it nowadays, if you know someone, it's not about anymore what you know, it's about who you know. Is also another scenario that we can see, like, okay, bend a little and then we will do something for you. Like I've seen it in many companies, and it's not a great feeling that the world wants women to do the same work, but they won't give the freedom and the equality that they give to any man,
Okay.
Like in today's world. Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Like in today's world, I see female women truck drivers. I see that and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. But are they being treated same in the industry? It's still a little bit of a question that, hey, I'm a female, I'm driving a truck and I'm going to do this, but I'm sure they deal with a lot of issues as a female truck drivers.
Okay, that's an interesting point that you have raised, that parity is not there in jobs, and women is still considered or seen with different eyes. But on the other hand, when we talk about women freedom, the way a woman is flaunted as an object, and women freedom, a lot of talks about that. But again, a man has his own field of work, a woman has his own field of work. But right now, with the women also earning the way the men are earning, both are running the family, but still the onus is on the women only, that she's the one who's to look after the house, the children, everything. And still the man feels, no, this is not my work. Whereas the woman is also now catering to the financial needs of the family. So as this is not changing, what do you feel? How can that change in the thinking we brought about?
You know what? That's a great point. And I kind of have a little bit of funny aspect towards this. I see some of my Caucasian friends, they would after Friday, like female, I'm talking about female, mostly Caucasian females or any other, culture. Okay, it's Friday, we're gonna have a drink. But in our culture, women go to work, they raise their kids, they take care of the house, and they still don't say, I need a drink. You know, it's incredible how strong, powerful these women are. And they never, I have never heard from South Asian community, these women, they're so strong, they're so mentally strong, they don't know what stress is. Okay, like, and meanwhile, in other cultures, I think about, I see, okay, it's Friday, let's go have a drink. I'm so stressed. But I do think that these women are so incredible, but still, when it comes down to the housework, men aren't sharing. They think that, oh, I'm paying the bigger bill, and I am not going to be the one who's going to be doing the house chores. Even though I see a little bit the change in a newer generation, but it's still not equal. It still needs to be changed.
So coming back to your novel now, what's the message you're trying to give through this novel?
So the message again, Harpreet, is, you know, um, we need to raise our daughters in a way where they have a full freedom to be who they want to, how they want to live their life. I'll give you a little bit out of the book. The main character in the book is driving through Delhi, and she rolls down a window, and a beggar. If I'm sure you guys know what beggar is, a guy who's a poor person who asks for money. Tells this character, "Tujhe acha ladka mile," you know. So she's sitting in the car, and a anonymous, random beggar tells this girl, "Oh, God give you a good husband." The way the society is made, I think that, even a stranger, a person who doesn't even have a house, is more concerned about you getting married than anything else. Didn't say, oh, you find a good job. Didn't say anything else. Oh, tujhe ek acha ladka mile. So this is also a part of my book. So I'm trying to deliver the message that we cannot change the past. It's already done. It's already been built. But I think the generations we raise, the new generations that are going to come, I believe that we can work on that, and we should. And as a woman in community, I think we need to work on ourselves, and we need to bring that message that our daughters are not just meant to be getting married. Yes, get married, but be independent first, is what the message I'm trying to bring through my book.
Okay, excellent. And how much time did it take to write this novel? And also some highlights. How many times did you go back and through, and finally this came out?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It took me about 2 years to write it.
Okay.
I have read my own book at least 40 times. Thanks to my editor. Yes, I don't want to even look at it. I don't even want to look at it. Um, and it it took me quite a bit of work. It wasn't easy. Like, everybody's just gonna look at book, oh, it's a novel, but it took me it's blood and sweat, I will say. I had to do the research. I had to read it over and over again, and then I had to find out what is better. It was a lot of thinking. It was a lot of emotions as well. It was a lot of hard work, is all I'm gonna say.
So it'll be an interesting read, as you are pointing out. Where can the people buy this book from?
The book is actually available on Amazon. It's on Kindle and all the platforms. Prison Press. It is also available on Google Books, Google Play. So you guys can go ahead and purchase the book online, whatever you prefer. But yes, it is going to be interesting read, and I really, really want everybody to enjoy. There is thrill, there is fun, there is little bit funny things in there, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And it is a series, so I'm working on my second book also,
Okay,
which is going
wonderful.
to be series. So,
And
which is going to be series to this book. Yes.
okay, okay, excellent. Jess, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. And your point is well taken.
Thank
Be independent, but stay rooted to your values and principles. And that concept of equality gets into practice in our community. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸਨ ਜੈਸ ਸਿੰਘ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਆਲ ਦੈਟ ਸ਼ੀ ਵਾਂਟਡ ਵਾਜ਼ ਇਹ ਨਾਵਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਮਨ ਇੰਪਾਵਰਮੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੜੀ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਜੇ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੋਚ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਦਲ ਰਹੀ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਬਦਲਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਔਰਤ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਾਂ ਬੜੀ ਲੜਕੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਹੋਏ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਰਫ ਮਰਦ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਜਾਏ ਉਸ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਗਰਾਊਂਡਡ ਰਹੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਵੈਲਿਊਜ਼ ਅਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਥ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਮੰਡੇ ਟੂ ਫਰਾਈਡੇ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਦੇ 6 ਵਜੇ ਪੈਸੀਫਿਕ ਸਟੈਂਡਰਡ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦਾ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਐਨੀਵੇਅਰ ਇਨ ਦ ਵਰਲਡ ਯੂ ਕੈਨ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਮੀ ਐਟ WhatsApp 6046037555 or you can email me at harpreetsingh@gmail.com ਇੱਥੇ ਲੈਣਾ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਫਿਰ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਹੈਵ ਅ ਸੇਫ ਈਵਨਿੰਗ ਸਟੇ ਹੈਲਦੀ ਐਂਡ enjoy yourself